This is a Central Line train to West London.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Exponential technology is changing the way we live, work, and play. But the human mind does not deal with exponential thinking very well. We are seemingly on the first step of a staircase that promises to carry us into an unknown future that many of us are simply not prepared for. So to understand the current state of the world's most powerful exponential technology, I have traveled to London Tech Week to meet up with some of the world's leading technologists and thought leaders to help you understand the implications of these technologies on your world. My name is Matt Brown, and this is the State of X.
This is the biggest and most ambitious festival of technology this country has ever seen.
The advancement in technology has been exceptionally fast in the 20th and 21st century. With electronic technology and machines being produced and improved all the time, it was very likely that along with the positive aspects of these new advancements, people would also consider the negative aspects and look to criticize new technology. Every day, another company brings out something more advanced in an attempt to win the consumer war against another company. This consumerism is driving the rate of advancement faster and faster each year. 5G is generally seen as the fifth generation cellular network technology that provides broadband access via mobile device. To put that in perspective, 5G will enable data transfer speeds in gigabits per second. Some have questioned the health and environmental impacts of this technology, whilst others have lauded the business opportunities that 5G will realize, especially when combined with cloud computing. These technologies will change the way we live and work, so who better to talk to on the topic than the General Manager and CIO of IBM, Micheal Valocchi.
Cool. Hey guys, welcome back to State of X. Today I'm privileged and honored to have Micheal Valocchi from IBM with me on the show.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to be here.
So Micheal, what do you do exactly at IBM?
So that's always a hard question.
I know.
So, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, so I just took over a role about 4 months ago, co-leading and being Chief Innovation Officer of a site invention we're doing with Vodafone Business and IBM, focused on cloud and connectivity.
Okay, cool.
So,
well, let's demystify X, cloud and connectivity.
Yeah.
So what is the state of cloud and connectivity as you see it today in your privileged position?
Yeah, so I think it's actually a redefinition of a value chain. So when we talk about value chain, sometimes we talk about, well, the application through this. This actually, what we're doing with cloud and connectivity is a definition from a device all the way through a user experience and everything in between it. And what I mean by that is I've got cloud at the center, but also I have to connect it. I need network. I need software-defined network as well. And even more importantly, what happens when 5G comes and the whole thing fits together?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about 5G and what 5G can promise.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of deterrence around that. I think there was even some hashtags going around in social media saying like 5G is bad, basically,
Right,
whatever that means.
Yeah.
I mean, what can we look forward to for 5G? I'm very much a proponent on the iterations of technology.
Yeah, right.
This being an entirely new generation, right? And
Right,
connectivity,
right.
hence 5G.
Right, well, and you go back to my point on the device all the way through the customer experience.
right.
If I throw 5G in, if you think about like a retail example now, is you and I might shop for some furniture off a IKEA or something like that, and we look at it and it's like, oh, it looks pretty good. 5G is going to improve the latency to a point where it's like, oh, this couch actually looks phenomenal. Oh, in this lighting. Oh, and I can actually feel like it's there. Now, without 5G, I'd have to come in and build a really fancy network in your house. I don't have to do that with 5G, and all of a sudden I'm going to build this latency all the way back to the consumer. Take the farmer example all of a sudden is they can actually do some visual realization and some AI around crop planning and what ifs and all that. It's like, it actually is going to open up a whole new realm of creativity.
Yeah. Can you dumb it down for, potentially people keep hearing about 5G but don't truly understand what this new generation in the real world means. It's like science fiction to reality.
Yeah.
You know, can you paint a picture of reality in a 5G world for us? Just one example of that.
Yeah, I think the reality is it's going to bring a visual realization into a consumer that you can't get now. So all of a sudden is the speed at which I can ingest data doubles, triples, quadruples, and then now I can innovate on top of that. So going back to the retail example, all of a sudden it's real, it's out there. Now the one thing we can't forget is without some of the hybrid multi-cloud, without some of the software-defined network, this all becomes kind of a stranded investment. So it isn't just if we just leave it the way it is, it just becomes science fiction and somebody will figure out what to do with it. But actually now I can take all the data, I've got access to all these multiple cloud environments, it all fits together.
Yeah. There was one crazy stat. Apparently today on like a fiber line, if you download a movie, it'll take you about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
On a 5G network, it'll take like 60 seconds.
Yeah, right. And you take that, but if we just leave it at that, it's going to be just a fancy consumer thing. Is actually businesses, if you go back to that end-to-end value chain, if you plug that into that with the software-defined network, with the device, the end user, hybrid multi-cloud, all of a sudden I have a new end-to-end value chain that I can do innovation on. I can move and move and move and move.
Okay,
so,
great.
And that's the point is 5G is just one of the technologies that's going to drive innovation.
Okay, so you mentioned Vodafone earlier.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that engagement as it relates to cloud and connectivity?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to correct your words.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's actually a venture. So I've got two roles. I'm a co-leader along with an executive from Vodafone. So we've actually put our capabilities together in a venture, not a formal joint venture, not a separate entity, but in a venture. So we're actually located in a separate office. We have our own, and you've seen it around here, we have our own garage. And we're innovating and building solutions together. So we are taking their strength and they actually have a very good cloud business. We're going to take their clients on a journey to cloud, and then we're going to innovate for both of our clients. So things like 5G, things like software-defined networks. So give you an example of something we're doing right now is we have a strong Apple partnership. Vodafone has a strong Apple partnership. We have different Apple partnerships. We're building a mobile solution that includes devices, the network, our application development, put together with industry expertise.
Wow.
I couldn't do that without Vodafone Business. They can't do it without me.
Yeah.
Don't see this as a client-partner relationship. We don't see this as anything other than a venture. We live together, and frankly, we're going to grow together.
What would you say to a CEO of a bank or a telco sitting in Africa right now, and he's hearing about 5G, he doesn't have the partner relationships that potentially you guys do. What is your words of wisdom to him or a piece of advice as it relates to 5G and the innovation opportunities in that particular context?
Yeah, and I would say don't think about it in isolation. Think about it as another opportunity to innovate on a platform. So think about the enhanced capabilities that you would have with that technology along with everything you're doing. Because I think the mistake people make is, I'm going to have an AI department, I'm going to have a data department. Oh, now let me have a 5G department. That's wrong. It's all together. It just is one more piece of the innovation and technology puzzle.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, last question for you. Why do you do what you do in this space? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
To make a difference in the world. So that starts with making a difference with our clients. I'm looking at some of the innovations we're talking about, and go back to my agriculture example. We actually think with what we're doing, we might be able to improve crop yields by 30%. We might be able to reduce waste by 40%. That actually gets me out of bed in the morning because that has a significant impact on the world I'm going to leave my kids.
Yeah.
So that's really what gets me out of bed. And the last thing I'll say is I get to innovate day in and day out. So that's actually probably the funnest. I probably have the most fun job I've ever had in my career with this new venture.
Micheal, one last question I have to ask you. Loads of books being written about innovation.
Yeah.
What book about innovation have you gifted the most?
That's a good question. It's the it's a great question.
Or must read?
Yeah, a must read is Simon, but is Think Fast. It's Simon Reddick. I forget his last name, but it's Think Fast, because it's all about, in larger corporations, how do you think fast and instead of acting slow.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Micheal, thanks for being on the show.
Great, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
I did a great interview recently with the chief architect of HSBC about how they're working with startups, and he said they changed part of their procurement and their legal department to give a stepping stool to a startup to basically not get drowned in all the paperwork that normally comes with a procurement agreement with a big company like HSBC.